Hey there, First Wavers. Today we're going to talk about one of my all-time favorite bands, The Cure. I'm New Wave Joe, and this is Catch the First Wave. Hey there, First Wavers. Today I'm going to tell you what my top 5 favorite Cure albums are. But we have 2 special guests in the house that I want to introduce you to first. We have Robert and Robert. Anyway, I'm just being silly. But, you know, The Cure is the kind of band that I always said if I was ever stranded on a desert island and I had only one band to listen to, it would be The Cure. The Cure's music touches on pretty much every emotion one can have. Sadness, happiness, excitement. So, if I had to listen to one and only one band on an island, it would be The Cure, because I could basically satisfy all of those needs at any given point in time. The Cure has released 13 amazing studio albums. But I, like you, have my top 5 favorites, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. Admittedly, it was not easy picking out 5 from that list of 13, even though there were a few that were at the top of my list from the get-go. I also want to mention that this show is only looking at albums that were released before 1995. Without further ado, here's the list. Coming in at number 5 is Pornography. Pornography is The Cure's 4th album, but it's also known to be or considered a proto-goth masterpiece. Pornography was released in 1982 at what was considered the tail end of The Cure's gothic phase. At the time, the album was poorly received by critics, but did reach number 8 on the UK charts. Today, critics see Pornography very differently and consider it to be a true milestone in the movement towards gothic rock. The album contains a number of great songs, like The Hanging Garden and 100 Years. Moving on, my 4th favorite album by The Cure is Disintegration, which was released in 1989 and is their 8th studio album. Disintegration, like Pornography, has a lot of gothic overtones to it, and in many respects was kind of a return to that gothic style The Cure was well known for earlier in their career. At the time, Smith felt pressure to put out more poppy hits, but instead returned to some of the band's original roots and put out this album. Ironically, Disintegration was a commercial success for the band and charted quite high in both the UK and the US. The album contains such hits as Love Song and Pictures of You and Fascination Street. For me, Disintegration is a gorgeous album, and I would highly recommend it for anyone who's interested in The Cure. It is harmonically and musically just a beautiful album. Coming in at number 3 is Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me was released in 1987 and is The Cure's 7th studio release. The album propelled The Cure into the American mainstream and reached number 40 on the top 200 Billboard charts. The album was actually a double-sided album, though it was released as a single CD and cassette. The album contained such notable hits as Just Like Heaven, Why Can't I Be You, and Hot, Hot, Hot. For me, the best way to describe this album is fun. One of the things I love about The Cure is that I can dance to some of their music, and this album contains some of the songs that I often dance to. So when I'm hanging out at one of my 80s dance events and I hear Hot, 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 you better believe I'm out on that dance floor. My second favorite album is Head on the Door, which is actually the first album by The Cure I ever listened to. Head on the Door was released in 1985, and I was about 14, 15 years old at that time. In many respects, I was just getting into this kind of music at that stage, and a friend of mine recommended this album to me, and I'm so glad he did. The record is The Cure's 6th studio album release, and features such great hits as Close to Me and In Between Days. The album is fresh and confident and really highlights out The Cure's kind of mature musical style at this point in their career. Before I tell you what my favorite Cure album is, I have a few honorable mentions. 3 Imaginary Boys, which was released in 1979, was definitely a top contender for this list, as well as Wish, which came out in 1992. Additionally, the compilation album Boys Don't Cry is one of my favorites. This, of course, following the single release Boys Don't Cry, which is just a great song. So here we are. My number 1 favorite Cure album is, drumroll please, Faith. This album was released in 1981 and is their 3rd studio album. At this stage, the band was in the throes of their kind of gloomy phase, and this album produced some really great, solid songs like Primary and The Funeral Party. For a Cure fan like me, this album really represents a lot of what the band was about and continues to be about today, and I would highly recommend it to anyone who wants to hear more great music by The Cure. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Please share with me in the comments what your 5 favorite Cure albums are, and also please subscribe to the channel today.